Hey, happy early Thanksgiving to you. So I'm not blinded. Alright, what's up? You ready to chill? Gobble gobble. Same here. Just watched Pearl for the first time. It's messed me up. It wasn't even that dark, but damn. Pearl, what's that about? You're still in Spain, still watching you live. Nice, that's cool. How's Spain? Hopefully you can get back in time to celebrate Thanksgiving. You were just listening while you were on at the gym this morning. Nice. What's good with the gym? Today was a good day at the gym. I hit 265 for 3 on the bench, and for some reason I was struggling with that week for a while, but finally got it. I kind of struggle with the bench overall. Started doing this stuff where you do really heavy 125% lockouts, where you just sit there and hold the bar over top of you at 125% of perceived max. And then immediately, then after that you take the weight off and go into your set, just to kind of prime yourself a little bit. And I'll be honest, it sort of helped, but it sort of didn't. It was still hard. Still warm and sunny compared to the rain-soaked UK. Yeah, it was very rainy here today in Pennsylvania. I wonder what longitude the UK is compared to Pennsylvania. Or is it latitude? I don't even know. Oh, shit. Any tips for aspiring narrators? Well, yeah, are you just only doing narrations kind of thing? Because I feel like I don't know, I don't want to sit there and say that narration is a really hard one to break into, but it really does seem like if you can kind of craft something that's both a podcast and has visual elements to it, especially starting out on YouTube, I think you would have maybe more success there. Just because some of the narration channels I see kind of pop up now, and not that I look that often, but they tend to involve some sort of visual elements in them. And I don't know, and sort of they got everything sort of worked out, from their artwork to their latitude is horizontal, longitude is vertical. Yeah, exactly. Massive fan from Ireland, up till 4 a.m. listening. Hell yeah, Steve. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate ya. Stay focused. You're watching an Ice Cube movie right now? Nice. Is it, remember that one, Ghosts of Mars? Where it was some dead race on Mars or whatever starts possessing the worker, the prisoners that are on Mars, or the workers. And Ice Cube's in it. Hell yeah, bro. Any plans to do another Native American tribe story, best Comanche episode? Yeah, it was a good episode, I would say. It's just, it's tough, I feel like. It's tough doing anything that deviates too far. Anybody who was here, well, if you guys get a chance, please check out the Space Stories video. I know some people were saying it's a little boring. It definitely was not within my typical wheelhouse of content. and it wasn't even like true crime per se. So that video like did, and you know, it was a 10 out of 10 abysmal success. Rook X with the 5 says, yo, Mr. Joe, when you gonna rap with that Jamaican accent? You always got the killer voice. Maybe we'll have to include it in the when we drop the mixtape. Be ready for it, man. But thank you, Rooks. Good to see you. And Chubby Teletubby with the 10 months is back at it like a bad habit. Starting a new job next week, and we'll be making way better money with a company truck too. Nice, that's good. You can write off some mileage and all that good stuff. Or I guess, well, have a card that pays for gas and shit. Collab with Sniper Wolf when? Hopefully soon. Hopefully that silly goose reacts to my channel soon. Then we'll get a whole fucking army of new subscribers from that. That would be dope. I'm the only one heavily advocating for her reaction content, but specifically for me. Opinion on Colleen Ballinger vlogging. Is she vlogging now? That's funny. Oh, I don't even know, bro. I don't know what kind of human being she is. There she is 7 hours ago, chopping off my hair in the pumpkin patch. Yeah, I mean, I guess as long as she stays away from kids, well, I guess she has kids, but as long as she stays away from her fans, I mean, she can live her life, you know? But at the same time, it's, I don't know, you sometimes kind of just try to wrap your mind around the psychology of certain individuals. And I gotta be honest with you, it's not that I put too much effort into it, but I can't say that I get it, you know? She's getting some views though. Jeez. Eh, fuck it, dude. I don't know, man. If you can spin that cancellation around and make success with it, you can do anything. Mammy Kitten with the 5 says, happy birthday, Duderbug. He's 12 today. Oh, happy birthday, Duderbug. Who's that? Is that a family pet? Audrey with the 5 says, Joel, I missed you and I was excited for your live. Currently sick. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Audrey. But I'm glad you can be here. And David De La Rosa with the 1. Oh, your son is Duderbug. Okay, happy birthday, son. The youngling. The young buck. 12 years old. That's sick. Is he playing sports? Get him into sports. Get the sports going. This is the time to start. That's when I started. It turned my life around. It made me... The infantry made me the man I am today. My voice sounds familiar. Yeah. I'm your dad. Melissa Brantley, welcome back for 10 months. Says, hey everybody, finally made it on time. Glad to see you, Melissa. That's okay. We also got the stream on ultra low latency, and it seems to be doing pretty well. What instrument am I going to play on my apology video? I'm going to play one of those... I actually have it. Let me go grab it. We'll just get it. We'll just get the apology out. Can you do pre-apologies? I'm going to do that real quick.
Mischievous dog. Mischievous dog.
Alright, I got it. Let me get... Well, I guess since you can't see me, I don't need to cry, but I'll... Okay. Let's pause this. I mean, it would be sick to have synthwave music in the background of an apology, but... Alright, here we go. Hey friends,
Mischievous dog.
recently you may have heard something about me. You may have seen it in the news, but I just wanted to, take a second to address
Mischievous
this
dog.
controversy. British people say it like that, so you know it's important. And basically, when I was
Mischievous dog.
skinning those little puppies live on live stream for the whole world to see, I didn't think I was live streaming.
Mischievous dog.
So like it doesn't really count, right? Okay. Anyways,
Mischievous dog.
I'm going to take 5 seconds off from making content and I'll be back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're back. Let's go. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I just got put on a list. I was crying. Didn't you see? Well, didn't you hear my tears? They were internal tears. Oh shit. Also, 7-leaf clover. Holy fuck. Thank you for the 10 gifter schmifters. That is massive right out the gate here. 2 So Long Dental Plan. Mir Spellman. Chris Johnstone. Looney Bin Jim. Eugenia. Jan Cauldron. Concert Toker. Rook X. Ashley Marie. Spenger, sorry. Hope I was saying that right. And Sam Pie, aka Cream Pie.
Mischievous dog.
Thank you so much, 7-leaf. Appreciate you. Thank you. And everyone, be sure to thank if you get a gifter and check out the bonus content. We will be recording bonus content hopefully this coming weekend. I was probably should have recorded this past Saturday, but it's all good. And Teresa Berosova, welcome back for 7 months. Says good morning, everyone. 5 a.m. here. I slept in, but it's all fine since I listened to Joel's live. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you. And welcome back for 7 months. Does anyone else think that Thanksgiving is a trap where your family lures you in with food and then bags on you all night? Oh, that's true.
Mischievous dog.
You definitely are giving them the opportunities. So ready to get your turkey on? Well, we got, I believe, 6 turkey stories for your tryptophan pleasure. Oh, actually, that would be a good title. 6 true... Dude, I think that... Okay, listen. I think one of the bigger issues, and I don't know what you guys think, but I think I fucked up my title for yesterday's video, and that's why it's doing poorly. Because you get a lot of views from, like, suggested views, if that makes sense. Like, so YouTube sends out new videos to current subscribers, right? And then if those current subscribers are interested, it'll suggest it out to like new people to get new subscribers, and then it will begin the process again, sending it to more subscribers, blah blah blah. And it's like trying to kind of build momentum that way, and that's the best way to get viewership, is what's called suggested views. Now, unfortunately, I named the video, the video title has changed now, but previously it was like Countdown to Catastrophe, 4 scary stories, or 4 scary space stories, or you know what I mean? Like, and I don't really think that initial title, also the topic, I think it was just the topic mainly, because I don't know. I should have just read the fucking phone book like you guys always tell me to do. Currently pregnant and finally getting over morning sickness, so I'm wicked excited for Thanksgiving. Oh, nice. Yeah, you're probably going to be eating a whole baby's load of stuffing. You're going to be stuffing your turkey but through the mouth. What the F is a phone book? You never heard one of those? It was basically the local government's way to like publicly dox everyone. The audio keeps glitching? Oh shit. There's no way. Wait, stream quality seems good. Anybody else having issues? We are on low latency, so I can find out. Who are your favorite scary story streamers? Do you know any of them? I don't know any. Do any of them even do that? Audio does not glitch. Sounds good to me, not glitch. Might just have to refresh. Whoever said that, I forget who it was. Hey! Jackson Spurgeon with the big 20 buccarino donaciano. Thank you, my friend. Oh, shit. Thank you, thank you. If you do have a message, please do at me so I can thank you directly. Audio's good. All right, perfect. Sometimes people, you know, you never know. You know, it's all hit or miss sometimes. You come into a stream and it might just kind of throw you for a bit of a poop. How long have I been reading horror stories for? Man, almost 10 years. Fucking August 16th, 2014, I think is when my channel started. Is there an about? Oh, did they get rid of the about section? Dude, did they get rid of the about section on YouTube channels? No way, dude. Or am I missing it? I'm fairly certain they got rid of the about section. That's so strange. Well, hopefully somebody remembers the date. LJ, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, if you stick around, you might get to choose what I say at the end of a video. You get to be part of the Easter eggs. August 16, 2014. Thanks, Bradley. It's still there. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. It's not showing up on my home. Oh, well. Yeah, no big deal. But you guys found it, which is good. 8/16/14. Isn't that crazy? 2014 does not feel like almost 10 years ago, or I guess at this point 9, but almost 10. That's just strange to me. Nick Bryant, welcome back for 8 months. Keep doing what you're doing, Joel. You gotta tell me, where does the outro music come from? That's actually by our in-house audio guy who helps remaster the audio for the podcast and some of the compilation videos you see, and he helps do some of the background music for the stream. Not currently, but like you said, the outro. His name is Inekt, I-N-E-K-T, and he is an amazing sound technician / artist who kind of like specializes in ambient stuff, but can do pretty much literally any task I've ever set forth for him to help me with. He kicks ass at it. Like we're currently, I mean, eventually I'll try to get to that rap album, but he fashioned together a bit of a beat for it, and it sounds sick. And I know for a fact that, as soon as we get that ball rolling, the mixtape is going to be fire, all due to his production skills, But yeah, that's from him. His socials should be linked in like every YouTube video, I do believe. In obscure exploration, welcome to the Buttersock Cult. You now have access to bonus content. And Susie Dunn, welcome back for a year. Happy anniversary to you on the channel. I started my channel back in 2009, so you've had your channel almost as long as I've had mine. Yeah, I guess so, yeah. What kind of videos do you do? The one thing I've learned from YouTube, though, is like you kind of have to specialize in something. You know what I mean? Oh, it's reading time, baby. Let's get to it. Chip chop, hip hop. If you like the music there, that's from Astral Drift, a chillwave synthwave mix on the INEXED Inext. Even though it sounds a lot like my guy, it's not. Be funny. Channel. What genre of music do you like listening to while you work out? When I'm doing like heavy squat, I will literally put on the same Lamb of God song, Omerta, just prior to my like heaviest set. And something about like just that heavy metal stuff really gets the war blood pumping. But I love everything, you know, anything from trap hip hop to EDM, you know, classic rock, whatever the fuck, you know, it's like I vibe with it, but sometimes you just vibe with other stuff more so. But yeah, we are reading some turkey stories tonight, aka Thanksgiving stories. We got 6 of them. We're gonna kick it off here. And slip at the devil's tongue with 3 Australian buckaroonies says, stole the whole bag of speculatius. Don't tell. I won't say a word. I'm not sure what that stuff is. It sounds goopy. Did you say you have a son? So what does the dad think he does for work? I don't have a son, no. I don't have any kids. I have a cat. What's the biggest donation I ever received? I think somebody more recently donated a $200 donation. What's my cat's name? His name is Pradeep. I have him on. You could go to my TikTok. You could see him at Let's Read _podcast. That's my latest post from him. I don't really post on there anymore now that we got the clips channels going. I have somebody else run that, thankfully. Do you have a favorite food? It would be a huge coincidence if it was turkey. By the way, if you haven't noticed, I ask you a question every other stream. It's all good. You know, turkey's okay. It can be a little bit dry depending on how it's prepared. But definitely a big fan of really anything chicken. Love lasagna. Love it all, honestly. Some good shit. All right. But yeah, thanks for being here, guys. Click that like button. Click share. Feel free to ask whatever questions you like. Chat amongst yourselves. I'm just going to be recording stories for tomorrow's video. We got new videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. New streams every Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday evening. And yeah, new podcasts over on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everywhere you listen to podcasts is up now every Tuesday at noon. So if you prefer to listen over there, you're going to get better audio quality and probably less ads if that's, you know, what you prefer. Hey, Joel. I've been a big fan for a while now, and thankfully I've never had anything happen to me that might necessitate the writing of a scary story. But then recently, I asked my mom about an unusual memory that I had from my childhood, which I then found out was just the tip of the iceberg. Now, from memory, my version of the story goes kind of like this. This happened when I was 8 years old, so Thanksgiving, 1993. Me and my family drove way across the state to spend the night with my aunt and uncle on my mom's side. I was close with my cousins on that side of the family, and my mom and her sisters were really close too, so we tended to spend a lot of holidays together. We drove and twerk. Thankfully, YouTube just changed their monetization policy for twerking, where now anyone who does twerk gets paid, which is what we did right here. And with Mammy Kitten with a big 30 buckaroo says, happy birthday, Sweet Pea, 22 this weekend. Happy birthday, Sweet Pea. Hope you Have a safe weekend, most importantly. Be very safe. Thank you, Mammy Kid, and always appreciate you. And Slip of the Devil's Tongue with 3 Australian bucks says, Speculatius cookies, traditional spiced Deutsch? Deutsch. Okay. Interesting. That sounds good. I'd like to try some. Can't turn down a cookie. Mr. K.W. Jones, how art thou? What was that, Erica? It was just a little bit. You just gotta release a little energy when someone makes it rain. You know what I mean? What's up, Steven? 3 years sober tomorrow. Flora Montoya, congratulations to you. Keep it up. Biggest thing I would say is just replace those things with other things. Good things. Lifting, running, biking, exercise, mainly healthy hobbies, friends, family, communities, all that good stuff, my friend. You got it. Just keep cruising and finish that race. But what about the story? Yeah, no, Erica, you've been here before, haven't you? You were here the past, 3... I record the stories, and I get interrupted a lot, yeah. So that's just kind of the vibe there. Oh, you were only here once. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's kind of how it goes. Is I'll be recording. If somebody donates a certain amount, I will. That's an automatic interruption. Just kind of how the vibe goes. I'll do a little bit twerking, and otherwise, I don't know. I just get kind of like. Do you ever do something a million times? You just almost hope to be interrupted a little bit. Oh, you were ending it at the end. Okay, yeah. Well, hey, you got to make it to the beginning. Me and my family drove way across the state to spend the night with my aunt and uncle at my mom's side. I was close with my cousins on that side of the family, and my mom and her sister were really close too, so we tended to spend a lot of holidays together. We drove over to their place. I remember playing with my cousins for a few hours, then we all sat down to dinner after being summoned by my mom and aunt. We all sat down, loaded up our plates, and the last thing I remember is my mom and my aunt telling us that we were going to have dinner in the upstairs bedrooms. I have this distinct recollection of not wanting to eat my food upstairs, but then my mom said, anyone who eats their turkey upstairs gets to watch the Mighty Ducks on the big TV in the mommy and daddy bedroom, okay? And that was all that needed to be said, and we were all up in her bedroom before we could say, attack the puck. My mom laid out a blanket for us, put all of our plates down on it, then we just sat there, perfectly content. Mom stayed with us, but she didn't eat anything. Whenever we needed to use the bathroom, she would walk us there and back, but then anytime we wanted to go downstairs for any reason, she'd tell us to wait where we were, and then she returned with whatever it was that we wanted. The way I remembered it, it was the best Thanksgiving ever. We got to eat dessert up there too. We watched a whole bunch of other movies, and then we all fell asleep in my aunt and uncle's bed before driving back home sometime the next morning. And that's where my memory of the events ends. The event ends. And that's where my memory of the event ends. And like I said, for the longest time, I remember nothing except how cool it was to be able to watch the Mighty Ducks while eating my turkey. I somehow knew it was an exception. We asked if we could do the same thing in the years that followed, and were always told no. But then last year, I just so happened to ask my dad about that Thanksgiving and why, just for 1 year, we got to eat in front of the TV. And I remember he gave me this look, and it being one that I didn't recognize. I feel like we were all used to seeing our dads with 3 basic facial expressions. The first is that I'm not mad right now, but I'm ready for something kind of look, with the second being straight up mad and the third being my sports team just won a game kind of smile. But that day, my dad gave me this look that I could only interpret as fear. Whatever the answer to my question was... Fuck. Holy shit. Where was that? Jackson Spurgeon with the $100. Holy shizzers, bizzers. Sorry to take notes, but you always earn this. Sorry to notes, but you always earn this. Joel, you make my week with your videos. Thank you, Jackson. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. That's a huge burgundy amount. My goodness, my friend. You guys are very, very generous today. Appreciate you so much. Thank you, thank you. I'm ever going to do a feet reveal? Yep, 2 million. 2 million subscribers, the OnlyFans comes out. It's your birthday, Alomi. Happy birthday. Everybody say happy birthday. Oh, Audrey, no worries. Don't even... Yeah, guys, never feel schbablated to donate or anything like that. This is such a low-key stream that I feel like it's just fun to chat with everyone, you know? I ended up leaving that hellhole of a physio rehab yesterday. I'm so glad to be home. Well, welcome back, Shayness. Welcome back. Glad you're doing good. Do you feel like... I mean, I guess you're probably still in pain, but do you feel like your balance is really off right now? Wait, how old are you? I am 33, believe that or not. But in a lot of weird ways, I feel like more energetic. I feel stronger than I did at 23. I'm kind of sick. Kind of disgusting. You can only donate pocket sand. You just like come up from time to time and just throw it in my eyes. Ah, fuck. Thanks so much. Thank you. Got a message for you. Let's read. You're my all-time favorite. Thanks, Jeepers. Thank you, thank you. You guys are super paused tonight. 30s are the best. Yeah, maybe they are. I actually read something or heard something the other day that, like, as far as strength goes, it seems that, you know, men tend to peak in their strength in their 30s. So, you know, I always thought, like, everything was just reserved for your 20s. But I definitely have plans to be in relatively good shape until I'm dead or get exploded. Do you guys ever think like maybe nukes don't exist? Did you ever think that? Nuclear bombs just aren't a thing. They're just made up. Whatever the answer to my question was, it wasn't some half-buried memory made fuzzy by too many blue ribbons. It was something he remembered very well, and it was something that frightened him. He took a big sigh, told me, "Don't tell your mom I told you this," and then went into the grown-ups version of the events, which was at fuck. They're real, unfortunately. Fuck, damn it. I was hoping maybe if we just, like, collectively... Imagine if, like, Imagine if, like, everyone in the population just kept, like, saying that they're fake to, like, people in power. And they're like, what the fuck? They're not afraid of them? They're like, no, they're not real. It's like the boogeyman, man. James Badaker with the 5 says, long-time watcher, listener, rare commenter, but I just wanted to say that you made my night so much easier at work. This community is 10 out of 10. Thank you, James. Appreciate you, and I hope work's going well. Remember Hiroshima and Nagasaki? Ah, fuck. I always forget. We do. I'm 33 and knocking my goals out of the park. That's awesome, Michael. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, remember Bikini Bottom. He let out a big sigh and told me, "Don't tell your mom I told you this," and then went into the grown-ups version of events, which is as follows. So everything I told you to start with still stands, and by that I mean everything was going fine until we sat down to dinner. Then as we were eating, the phone started to ring. My uncle got up to answer the call, and it was a man asking for my aunt, so he calls her to the phone and sits back. My uncle got up to answer the call, and it was a man asking for my aunt, So he calls her to the phone and then sits back down to eat. A minute or two later, my aunt comes back in, but she's quiet and she's not touching her food. My uncle asks her what's wrong, but she tells him she's fine. It was just someone from work calling or some other excuse which got him to drop it. Then another minute or two goes by and the grown-up starts seeing a car's headlights turn into my aunt and uncle's driveway. They're not expecting any other guests, but it was Thanksgiving, so it wasn't out of the question that someone might stop over unexpectedly. But instead of just acting curious like the rest of the grown-ups, my dad said that he watched the color drain from my aunt's face. My uncle was halfway to getting up from his seat, and my dad said my aunt grabbed him by the arm and said 3 hushed words that had the color draining from his face too. "Get your gun," she said. Obviously, my mom and dad wanted to know what the hell was happening, but there was no time to really explain. All my aunt told them was that we might all be in a lot of danger, at which point my mom started gathering up us kids and taking us upstairs. We'd all been sitting at the kids' table at the time, and although it was right there next to the adults' table, I don't remember anything except the moment my mom told me to go upstairs. As I've already told you, she then stayed upstairs with us, making sure that we didn't see anything or hear anything of what happened next, but then headed up by my uncle, and my dad and aunt went to see who'd showed up unexpectedly. Having listened to the advice of my aunt, my uncle had his .45 ready to rock, but later said that he had no idea who was out there or why my aunt was so scared, and all the unanswered questions had him just as scared as she was. But still, he did what he had to and walked outside with his gun ready to go. According to my dad, they walked outside and they can't see anything right away because the guy's headlights are shining bright and just blinding them. But then they take a few steps off the porch and their security light lit up the stranger's car. My dad said he could see the guy standing behind his open trunk, but he couldn't see his face at all at first. Meanwhile, my uncle was marching towards the guy, asking him to identify himself, and the guy steps out from behind his car, holding his gun. My aunt screamed, then ran back inside, but my dad said that he was frozen, knowing that if this random gun-toting stranger shot my uncle, he'd have to try and rush him from the side because there was no way he was going to let some maniac gun into his house where his kids were upstairs. But my dad also said that round about the same time he saw the gun, he noticed something about the guy holding it. He was drunk as a skunk. He didn't so much as step out from behind the car as stumble out from behind it, and as my uncle approached him, the guy looked like he had no idea how to use the gun he was holding. My uncle raised his own and kept telling him, "You point that thing at me and I'll kill you." And by some miracle, the stranger either couldn't load the thing properly or couldn't get a good grip on the side because my uncle made it all the way over to him to knock him out before he could even look up. Dad said it was a nasty hit too, but even so, he'd never been so relieved in his entire life. After that, my dad rushed him, disarmed the stranger for good, then he and my uncle basically sat on the guy until the cops showed up. I say sat on the guy, more like sat with him, because when he woke up from being knocked out, he had next to no idea where he was and was so out of it that he didn't even try to get up until he saw the lights of the sheriff's deputies approaching my aunt and uncle's house. The deputies cuffed the guy, then took him away, and all the while me and my cousins are up in the back bedroom, completely none the wiser that any of this was happening. Like I already said, Mom stayed with us until bedtime, and I remember my aunt and uncle coming in to say goodnight too. Now looking back on it, they were as cool and calm as anything, not even a hint of what had just unfolded downstairs. But after we went to sleep, it was a different story. My aunt told my dad, uncle, and Yo! Make sure I didn't miss anything here. Hey, thank you again. James Bedeker, appreciate you. And David with a 1. And Chrisnopolis with a 10. Gifters, 2. Mischievous Frog. Stacy Ragland. Angel Diamond. Rawad R. Beatrice Farias. Amber D. Cherry Metha. Danny L. Crystal Garcia,
Dog.
and Cat's Kingdom. Thank you, Christopolis. Thank you, thank you. Very kind. We had a pretty good run there for a while.
Mischievous dog.
I didn't know you had to allow gifts. I just turned it on. Yeah, where do you turn that on again, Michael? I know some people don't know that either, and it might be... I personally don't know where you do it, you know, but... My aunt told my mom, dad, and uncle for the very first time the story of why she'd packed up and moved away from her home city, and it was all because of some psycho that she'd made the mistake of getting hitched to. He didn't hit her, he wasn't a violent man, which made sense after the sorry display that he made with the pistol, but he found other ways to make her life absolutely terrible. At first, she didn't need to work because he could take care of her, and she didn't need her own checking accounts because why would she? My aunt was too naive to realize that, when her ex-husband turned bad, not having her own money would mean that she was basically stranded. Her ex took the phone out of the house, threw all the food out one at a time, then left her alone for a night, and she had to beg on the street for the payphone money to call my grandma. My voice cracked. Her ex took the phone out of the house, threw all the food out one at a time, then left her alone for a night, and she had to beg on the street for the payphone money to call my grandma to come rescue her. She was so ashamed of having gotten into that situation, of having been so stupid as she put it, that she swore my grandma to secrecy, and it was a secret that she took to her grave with her. And sometime after, my aunt moved to Chicago to be closer to my sister, met my uncle, and the rest is history. She thought that she'd left that whole sad chapter of her life behind, and after 10 years of not hearing from him, she had no idea if her ex was dead or alive. Not until he showed up at her house early on that Thanksgiving evening with a gun and 2 gallons of gas in his trunk to burn the house down after he'd shot us all. At least, that was his plan. The guy ended up going to prison. Not for as long as anyone would have liked him to, but if he steps foot back in the town my aunt and uncle live in, not Chicago by the way, then he'll go straight back to prison, no questions asked. Obviously, 30 years have gone by, and my parents and aunt are all in their 70s by now. That means that her ex is going to be around that age too, and hopefully he's somehow found a way to make peace with the whole thing, and he's not going to try and reach out again. But that's the thing that actually frightens me about this whole story. It's not actually over yet. Everyone just kind of assumes that he's going to just... Oops. Christopolis, thank you for another 5 gifters too. Ariel Monroy, Michael. Oh, there you go, Michael. Jay, Emma, and Elmeco. Sweet. Thank you, Christopolis. Thank you, thank you. When I die, I want to be buried at the Christopolis. Everyone just kind of assumes that he's not going to show up again, mostly on account of how old he'll be. But from where I'm standing, it looks a lot more like hope than assumption. They're all just hoping this guy isn't going to show up again, and the idea that there's some impending family tragedy on the horizon, it makes me feel like there's a blade hanging over my neck, just waiting to drop at any time. I'm scared what my aunt went through, twice, and will only really ever... Wait, what? Yeah, at least he called first. He made his presence known, Your Honor. He widowy ate all the pepperoni pizza, all the pepperoni slices at the Thanksgiving dinner. I'm scared what my aunt went through twice will only really ever be... It sounds weird. I'm scared what my aunt went through twice will only really ever be over when her ex is dead. At least I hope so, because God knows I don't want it to end with anyone else dying except him. You're quiet, but you show up almost every stream. Well, I appreciate that. Good to see you. Can I do a Chicago accent? I'm not really sure what that even sounds like. Is it like Midwest? Oh, is it like Midwestern? Or I'm not even sure. I got you rolling. Rolling you like a joint. Rolling you like a little bug. You now all have access to bonus content and special emojis. I had 3 cookies and even that hit me like bricks. I can't handle sweet like I could at 12. I think it's just conditioning. You just gotta condition your tum-tum to be able to gorge on sweets like me. Do I correct myself during a real conversation? Wait, what do you mean? I'm confused. Sometimes I say stuff and I don't quite remember what I said. 7 Leaf with the 2 Canadians says, gotta go, have a great live. Love you, Buttersock fam. Thank you, 7 Leaf. Take care. Sleep tight. The first horror narrator diss track. Believe it or not, Sam, there's actually a lot of horror narrator diss tracks out there. Everybody's looking to have qualm with one another. Alright, story 2 of 6 coming up. Oh, shoot. It's pouring rain where I live, and I'm so grateful that it's not coming through my ceiling anymore. That is what I'm thankful for. It was dripping right on my bed before. Really? That's crazy. Sorry about that. That sounds terrible. Hopefully you were able to like move your bed and stuff and get like a big bucket down there till they fixed it. Alright, story numero 20. If I can find it. Spooky Mennonite released a book? What's it about? What's the story behind the Buttersock? I don't know. I don't think anyone knows. It's a dark and storied history. Older than time. What's up, Alec? Thanksgiving is coming up, and I know you sometimes make videos based on whatever holiday is on the horizon. So I wanted to send my story in about that time of the year. You see, I had a great childhood. I know that in the age of people wearing their traumas on their sleeve, that's not a very cool thing to admit, but it's true. I don't have any issues with my mom or dad, who are still together after 40 plus years of marriage. Neither was I bullied at school. And unlike my 2 best friends growing up who had liver problems and diabetes, respectively, I never had any chronic medical issues to deal with. And I used to think that I was lucky. Everyone seemed to have some messed up thing going on in their family, be it a divorce, a sibling or parent with drug or alcohol problems, anything that meant that they were broody and world-weary by the time we hit high school. But I didn't, and on top of that, I couldn't exactly see anything on the horizon either. But during Thanksgiving of 2005, when I was 15 years old, I found out that everything in my family wasn't exactly perfect either. So, I have an uncle that's almost 20 years younger than my dad. Dad was an only child all through his teenage years, then one day, he got the news that his little brother was on the way. My grandparents always said my uncle was an unexpected blessing, which I guess means he was an accident. But then with him being the baby of the family, he was doted on and spoiled like it was nobody's business. And this ended up with my dad and uncle being worlds apart in terms of age, but also worlds apart in terms of personality, too. My dad spent a few years in the Marine Corps, and he wasn't a total hardcore guy or anything like that, but it definitely stuck with him. I said hard ass, but I didn't want to swear. I didn't want to say a swear word. Whenever I have caffeine, just one thing of soda, coffee will be enough energy for me the rest of the day. I made the mistake of having some caffeine before bed. Couldn't sleep. Damn. Wart. I like caffeine. I drink a lot of caffeine. It makes me feel good. Is it bad I can drink around 600 milligrams of caffeine a day and not be up all night? Well, your body's just kind of used to it. I mean, I suppose there are other effects too. Perhaps your sleep is not quite as deep as it could be as far as REM goes, but I'm kind of just talking about out my ass in that regard. My dad spent a few years in the Marine Corps, and he wasn't like Jocko or anything like that, but it definitely stuck with him. Whereas my uncle was a struggling musician, then a struggling artist, and then a struggling writer, all because my grandparents blew so much hot air up his butt that he thought that ambition could actually trump talent. That sounded weird. Whereas my uncle was a struggling musician, then a struggling artist, and then a struggling writer, all because my grandparents blew so much hot air up his butt that he thought that ambition could just trump talent. I always thought he was a cool guy, and I could never understand why my dad gave him such a hard time. He always seemed so laid back and chilled out, and I could talk to him about all the stuff my dad found boring or had no time for. I was always pleased to see him whenever he visited, and he and my dad never argued in front of me, which I appreciate looking back on, at least until the Thanksgiving I'm about to tell you about. Fuck. Why does that sound weird? About to tell you about. I guess that's a sentence, right? Most people should be fine drinking 400 milligrams of caffeine per day. Yeah, you definitely don't want to go too much above that. I was always pleased to see him whenever he visited, and he and my dad never argued in front of me, which I appreciate looking back on, at least until the Thanksgiving that I'm about to tell you about. So one night, we're having dinner and my dad tells my mom that my uncle was bringing his girlfriend over for Thanksgiving. I remember being excited to meet her, as anyone dating my uncle must be as cool as him, right? Mom and dad seemed kind of nervous, emphasis on kind of, but put it down to never having met her prior to some big... Mom and Dad seemed kind of nervous, emphasis on kind of, but put it down to never having met her prior to some big family occasion. Cut to maybe a week or two later and my uncle shows up for Thanksgiving, then starts introducing his girlfriend to the whole family. She was very attractive, I'll say that much, but she was definitely out of place with her leather jacket and tattoos. Now that being said, my family were as friendly as ever and tried their best to make her feel welcome. Dad made a toast, we ate dinner, then everyone kind of went their separate ways to do the after-dinner stuff. The men went to watch sports highlights, the women had coffee around the breakfast nook in the kitchen, and the younger kids played among themselves. But me, I went upstairs to my bedroom to play video games. I can't remember how long I played for, but it was mid-evening when I went downstairs to grab a soda, so maybe like 7:30 to 8 o'clock or something. I walked downstairs into the kitchen, and right by our refrigerator was the door to the garage. I opened up the fridge, grabbed a soda, then after I closed it and started walking out of the kitchen, I heard something coming from the garage. To my knowledge, everyone is either sitting around the TV or playing bridge in the dining room. There's no one left in the kitchen, and there definitely shouldn't have been anyone in the garage, so obviously the question was, who was in there, and why? It could have easily been maybe a raccoon, I guess, but my biggest fear, the one that had me reaching for the door to take a peek outside, was the idea that someone had broken into our garage, the same garage that had direct access to a house full of totally unsuspecting people, and myself. I remember reaching for the door handle, real slow, then pulling it open real fast and then just scanning the interior. Something caught my eye right away. It was my uncle's girlfriend. Her eyes just looked wrong. There was blood coming out of her nose and mouth, and at first I thought my uncle was trying to help her, but then right there with me watching, he hits her. And he hit her so hard that her head just jerked back in this weird ragdoll kind of way that I can still remember clear as day even all these years later. And the second he did, I slammed the door closed and ran into the TV room and managed to get the attention of everyone there by just pointing towards the kitchen and saying, "Uncle Tony, in the garage." His name isn't Tony, I just know how to describe the moment without dropping. His name isn't actually Tony, by the way, I just don't know how to describe the moment without dropping a name. Everyone ran to the garage, the cops were called, and within maybe 10 or 15 minutes, what had once been this nice family atmosphere had turned into total chaos, which spilled out into the streets and ended with my uncle in a cop car and his girl in an ambulance. I didn't get to see all that much before my mom and dad screamed at me to get up to my room. They were so angry that I thought that they were mad at me for a while, and afterwards, they explained something to me that I don't think childless people are even capable of conceiving. So much of what a parent does bears no other purpose than to protect their children. Sometimes a parent can come across as a total jerk, just a soulless, joyless husk that wants nothing more than to suck all the happiness out of their kid's life. I know there's times when parents overstep the line and genuinely are cruel and abusive to their kids, but that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about the things that feel like punishments or restrictions that are actually nothing but manifestations of love and protection. And that's pretty much the reason my mom and dad shielded me from the truth about Uncle Tony. They didn't want to cut him off or have me resenting them for not allowing us to have a relationship, so they went about this difficult balancing act of allowing him to visit me without filling my head about stuff that he was doing in his life. Stuff like doing drugs, committing petty financial crimes, stealing from grandparents, and, as I saw with my own eyes, being a complete piece of human garbage, and how he chose to treat the women in his life. Which reminds me, like I said, Uncle Tony, again, not his real name, got picked up by the cops after my dad and some neighbors basically beat the crap out of him and pinned him down in our driveway at that time. But his girlfriend, she had to stay in the hospital overnight. My uncle had beaten her pretty bad, and I think the doctors were scared that she had a concussion, but all she had was a broken nose and a busted lip, I guess. Mom and Dad paid her hospital bills, and Mom went to visit with her sometime after, I'm guessing to ask about her pressing charges. And to this day, I still don't know for sure if my mom went over to talk her into it. She's always claimed that all she said was something like, "We'll support you no matter what your decision is," and that the girl went ahead and pressed charges all of her own free will. I'm not saying that's impossible, but I've heard way too many stories about battered wives and girlfriends being too afraid to talk to the cops for years before they suddenly snap and decide to do something themselves. And maybe that was the case with my uncle and his girl. Or maybe my mom knew that unless someone stepped in and encouraged her to do the right thing, the same pattern of misery and violence would just go on until someone either died or got sent to jail. Just to be clear, that's entirely speculation on my part, and I guess I'll take my mom's word for it that she didn't intervene or interfere. But either way, it went to court. My uncle pled no contest, seeing as there was a ton of witnesses against him, and he ended up doing 3 of 6 years of his... Oh my god, fuck. I ran out of juice. Ran out of boost. Ran out of boost. Sexual style. Sicko mode. Was my phone vibrating during this one? I heard a funny Sunday that sounded like a phone on vibrate. No, I don't think so. It's not even near me. You had a leg cramp while driving? Oh, fuck. Damn, that's the worst. So Monday and today, I'm basically starting this week. So I'd normally do like strength lifts in the beginning of the workout, and then I would kind of do like a mixture of like different body part, like accessory bodybuilding stuff. But now I've kind of geared my training to like sort of be oriented to whatever that lift was. So Monday was like back day. Today was bench, so we did a bunch of chest and triceps afterwards, and then so blah blah blah. What I'm trying to get at is I do so much of it that I find that like if I even kind of fucking extend too much afterwards later, I get my fucking muscles cramp, and it's really annoying. At work, prepping tuna gets me buff. Interesting. Oh yeah, that's true. Meal prepping. You going back to the gym tonight? Nice. When am I launching my fitness influencer career? I think maybe I'll just sell steroids or something as like a pre-roll ad. We'll sell testosterone, bull shark testosterone. You're working out right now, Hannah? Nice, dude. Eat more bananas and drink more water. I've been sitting on the bananas because I heard that they absorb faster anally, but I guess that's where I'm missing. Is there a way to strengthen tendons? Let me ask the internet. Because I think there is. I think naturally your tendons tend to grow strong in conjunction with your muscles as you lift weights. But what's the best way to strengthen tendons? Chicken tenders. How do I strengthen my chicken tenders? Strengthening tendons requires a combination of targeted exercises, proper nutrition, and adequate rest. Oh my god, ChatGPT is so fucking slow. Oh, there we go. Now it's just blasting. Jimmy Neutron style. And they play a crucial role in stability. Okay, gradual progression. Start with lightweight. Okay, yeah. So slowly progressing your progressive overload lifting. Eccentric exercises. Eccentric exercises involve lengthening the muscle tendon under tension. So basically like controlling it on the way down. Isometric exercises, which is like holds, like maybe like halfway up through the exercise, just holding that. Resistance training, proper technique, adequate rest and recovery, nutrition, hydration, stretching, avoid overuse, listen to your body. But okay, so yeah, I mean, basically what I said earlier is like your tendons should grow in strength in conjunction with your strength and, you know, hypertrophy training. But sometimes people who use, not that I do this, but I've seen people who use steroids, various steroids, and their muscles sometimes can grow faster. Their strength and muscles can tend to grow faster than their tendons do. And that's why a lot of, like, you know, you might see people like rip their pec out or some shit like that, you know. So as long as you avoid steroids, you should be good. Oh, chicken tendies. They rip their pecker, you know. Well, they could do that too. They wish steroids would work that way for them. I'm bulking my wiener. But either way, it went to court, and my uncle pled no contest, seeing as there were a ton of witnesses against him, and he ended up doing 3 years of a 6-year sentence, at which point my parents totally cut him off. And by that time, I was completely okay with him doing that, as I had absolutely no desire to see my Uncle Tony ever again. Now I know it might sound kind of messed up, but for the first few days after it happened, I wasn't angry or horrified or appalled at what my uncle did. I was heartbroken. I couldn't believe someone that I looked up to so much was capable of doing something just so awful. I just couldn't make sense of it. In my mind, there had been some kind of terrible misunderstanding, and I still haven't really forgiven myself for thinking this, but I couldn't help but think this girl had done something to deserve it, I guess. Was she trying to steal something? Had he caught her doing drugs? There had to be some logical reason why my laid-back, incredibly cool uncle would do something so terrible. Spoilers, but there wasn't a reason. At least nothing that could possibly justify putting his hands on her in the way that he did. Fuck. Spoilers, but there wasn't a reason. At least nothing that could possibly justify putting his hands on her in the way that he did. And I had to hear the whole thing from my mom, following her visit to the still recovering and now ex-girlfriend to really understand what had happened. One of the things I wonder in the days after was why his girl hadn't screamed. If they were having a fight or whatever, then how had it gone from near silence to physical violence with any kind of escalation in volume? Now we're doing... Okay. Alright. Yeah, collagen. I do take collagen, and I guess, yeah, collagen would be helpful for your joints and tendons. Collagen can be kind of expensive. Not the injection type, but the kind that you put in your, like, hot tea at the end of the night. Or sometimes I hear people say you're supposed to take your collagen powder, like, prior to working out, because then it will be absorbed easier at that point. Both your knees sound crunchy all the time. Yeah, I might just have to strengthen them, through various exercises just to kind of build the material around it to make it more sturdy. Squats. Working construction, you degraded your joints. Yeah, fuck, man, that's tough. Wonder if there is any sort of comeback. If they were having a fight or whatever, then how had it gone from near silence to physical violence without any kind of escalation in volume? That was just one of the reasons why I very naively thought that there must have been something more to the story, right up until my mom told me the following. She hadn't asked my uncle's ex the same question. Wait, what is this? She hadn't asked my uncle's ex. Okay, sorry. Had to work through that one. She hadn't asked my uncle's ex the same question. Not directly, anyway. It just came out during my mom's retelling of her visit. My uncle's ex didn't scream when he started hitting her because she learned that if she did, he'd only hit her harder. And this did two things. Number one, it gave me an idea of just how long the abuse had been going on for, and two, it made me hate my uncle, and I mean really hate him. There was, and is, something so sickeningly sadistic about that one little detail, and once I had it in my head, there was no coming back from it. That was the uncle I didn't know I had. That was the version of my uncle that my parents tried to shield me from. I guess that's maybe an overdone concept with some of the stories that you probably get sent to you here, as in the old, I thought they were sweet but they were actually a monster, but I also understand why they don't ever really get old either. It's something a lot of people go through in their lives, realizing that sometimes things aren't quite what they seem. But a lot of my school friends got that lesson way early, whereas I was way into my teenage years when I realized that sometimes you think you know someone, when really, you don't know them at all. Snack, crackle, and pop my knees. Snap, crackle, and pop my pussy. Alright, story 3. Story 3, shall we move onward? Guys, what are you gonna eat on Thanks frickin' Giving, baby? Yeah. What are you gonna eat? What are you gonna shovel into your fucking mouth? You're gonna smush it around on your tongue, which has little buds on it that absorb various receptors. Do you think there's a specific receptor on your tongue made for biscuits? I sure hope so. 'Cause why the fuck would biscuits be so good? What's the best pie ever? Oh, man. Ooh-wee. That's a good question. I like pumpkin pie, but it's definitely not the best pie ever. It always feels like it's like missing a component. Pumpkin pie might actually be like way better if it had some sort of like specific flavored crust. Maybe like a peanut butter crust. Would that be too much? Would that be too much? Oh yeah, pumpkin pie. Fuck, pumpkin cheesecake, candied yams, green bean casserole. Yeah, just put that all in a fucking pie, dude. Has anyone ever done that? Taken all the fucking leftovers from Thanksgiving and shoved it into a fucking pie and cooked it in the oven? That sounds like somebody who just like smoked like 8 blunts might do, but I'm on board. Leslie with the 5 says, "Hey y'all, my rat Scabbers died today. He was the best pet ever. We had him since May 2022. He'll always cuddle during these live streams. I'm numb." Oh, I'm sorry, Leslie. I didn't even... Rats? Do they only live like a year? Damn, I didn't even know that. That seems so fast, but I'm really sorry to hear that. Make a turducken version of a pie. That sounds pretty fire, to be honest with you. Rats only live about 2 years on average. I guess that's why they research them, right? Because their cells go through like the replication process like so quickly that they can like accurately gauge, I don't know, cancer growth and all that kind of stuff comparatively to humans. And no, it wouldn't be like putting all the leftover food in a blender and making a milkshake. That's not what I mean. I'm talking in a fucking crust and baking that shit at 375 for 22 minutes just to heat it up a little bit. But you know, all that shit's gonna meet in your gutty works anyways, you know what I mean? You might as well just have them commingle in a designated area prior. I'm telling you, I think I just invented something. The most American food you could ever have. We have to name it though. Thanksgiving pie. Joel's pie. Joel's cream pie. Cream pie Joel. Cream pie me. We'll work on it. Joel's pie hole. Exactly. There we go. We're on to something. Cream pie by Joel. By Joel. Cream pie by Joel. And it's also, we can make it into like a perfume. You're just like spraying like gravy on your neck. Can you air fry a turkey? I fucking hope so. We better be able to. I don't know what else I'm supposed to do. When I was just 11 years old, my dad and I went for a walk just before Thanksgiving dinner. We lived just north of Columbus back then in a little suburb called Shawnee Hills. It was a great place to grow up, and we had a big house with my own bedroom and a big backyard too. At the end of this backyard was a small gate, and beyond that was a whole bunch of woods and then a deep, fast-flowing river that's probably still popular with summertime kayakers. I remember being incredibly hungry, but dinner wasn't going to be ready for another hour or so, so instead of sitting in front of the TV, moping, my dad offered to take me on a walk to the river. Walking down there to throw twigs and stones into the water was one of my favorite things to do, mainly because I was never allowed to do it on my own. I have a real vivid memory of throwing larger stones into the water and finding the big plump that they made upon splashing into the current to be extremely satisfying. Plus, as my dad said, if we used up the last of the daylight to walk down there, toss a few stones in, then walk back, then dinner would be on the table just seconds after we arrived back. It seemed like a flawless pan. Microwaving food makes it taste weird. I agree. I think at this point, with the invention of the air fryer, there's really no point in using a fucking microwave anymore. Maybe for like porridge. Maybe for like slop. Maybe for like Thanksgiving pie. Your microwave stopped working now. I want to don't want to go back. Oven is your favorite way to cook food. Tastes much better. This is true. And yeah, I don't know. That's the best part about the air fryer. It's like sort of like an in-between. It's like an in-between thing, where it's as quick, if not quicker, than a microwave, but it is taste as good as an oven. It's awesome. I love people. I love that there's just like people out there who is just like, and ta-da, air fryer. I've invented this thing. When did this start? This started an hour and 16 minutes ago. Sarah TR with the force is stuffing turkey waffles, fried mashed potato cakes. Fuck yeah, dude. Let's get it. I want it. Put it in my mouth right now. Right now. You make almost everything in the Instant Pot so easy. Exactly, yeah. You get a whole arsenal squad. You get a whole squadron of Instant Pots and air fryers going. Fucking Gordon Ramsay would be shitting his pants. He'd be flipping in his British grave. But unfortunately for Gordon Ramsay, he's not allowed to celebrate Thanksgiving. That's our holiday. Dummy. He doesn't even know what turkey tastes like. And he's not allowed. It's actually illegal. You have to have permits. You have to have permits to like watch the Thanksgiving parade in America in the UK. You can't even like. You're not even actually allowed to say the word stuffing. You're not even like if you're found with like candy yams and even in a can in your home in the UK, they open fire probably. I think. I'm just kind of guessing based on like other precedents that have been set there that's most likely the laws. It's your birthday. You turned 20. Happy birthday, Alyssa. Yippee! Let's go. It's everybody's birthday. All the time. It's crazy. Joe, I wouldn't say I love people. I take love very seriously. People I don't know. How can you love? Respect them, which is different. I guess there's different types of love, you know. I'm sure there's, in the same way that you said the word respect, in other cultures there's like all sorts of varying degrees of what we might call love. There's lust. There's the unconditional love that a parent might have for their kids, and vice versa. And then there's the love that you have for, your favorite glory hole at the truck stop. That's my favorite love. I could just call that Tuesday. Okay. It seemed like a flawless plan at the time, so I accepted his offer and off we went. We walked all the way down to the stream, shining flashlights even though it was still half-light. Half-light? What the fuck is half-light? Is that a phrase? Hello, it's half-light. Hello, everyone. It's just turned half-light. We walked all the way down to the stream, shining flashlights even though it was still half-light outside. Then, when we got there, I did my usual thing of looking around for the biggest rocks possible. My dad joined in, and for the next few minutes we're picking them up and tossing them into the river, until my dad comes across the glory hole. What if we kissed in front of the glory hole at Buc-ee's? It's still half light out. Inuits have 500 different words for love. Well, name all 500 right now. Go. What's on the menu for girl dinner tonight? Just a big leftover pie. Girl dinner. Half-Light 3. I wish, dude. Gordon Freeman. Hey, Gordon. Ah, Mr. Freeman. Mr. Freeman. Gordon Freeman. Freeman. The free man. The Half-Life series is like one of my favorite. If you guys have never played Half-Life, they remade the first game on Steam, and you can play Half-Life 2 and all the episodes after that. The game is my favorite game ever. I know it's old, but it still plays really well. It's still very satisfying, and it's fucking, the story's the best ever. Did you hear that Valve upgraded the original Half-Life? How recently, Sam? That's my question. How recently? Yeah, probably Black Mesa, yeah. I don't think it was necessarily Valve. It was some other team had remade the game. Girl dinner is SSRIs and coffee, yeah. They just dump it right in, grind it up. Valve did it for the anniversary. Yeah, what do you mean upgraded? Like they upgraded it to the Source 2 engine or some crazy shit? Because that would be insane to play that whole game in like Source 2. Because I feel like only Half-Life Alyx is in Source 2 right now, but I don't know, I'm curious. They put Hogwarts Legacy on Nintendo Switch. Nice, that's cool. It's a good game, I hear. Oh yeah, I gotta change the chat to be like a live chat. Priscilla, thank you. Good to see you. Hope you guys are having a delightful night. My dad joined in, and for the next few minutes, we're picking them up and tossing them into the river until my dad comes across one that looks particularly promising. I remember him distinctly saying, "Oh, we got a big one here." And then he took a step up onto one of the rocks at the edge of the river and kicked one of his feet against the one next to it, I guess to try and dislodge a piece that was cracked and coming away. Then, in one fluid motion, he slipped, hit the rock that he'd been standing on, then went crashing into the water. It sounds so perversely awful to think about it now, but at the time, I actually thought it was kind of funny. He slipped, and when he hit the rock on his side, he made this funny sort of sound, and then after he fell into the water, I honestly thought he'd just pull himself out right away, just like he did whenever he jumped into our swimming pool in the summer. Only problem was, he didn't. And as I walked up to the river's edge, I caught a glimpse of him floating away downstream. Recalling that moment has suddenly made this very difficult to write about, so excuse me if the quality of my writing just takes a sudden turn. But seeing him floating away, or rather, seeing a flash of the fabric of the jacket that he was wearing just bobbing in the water as the fast-flowing river took him further and further away, that's what made me realize that something was wrong. And that's what had me running down the riverbank, desperately calling out his name and wondering why he wouldn't answer. The more I ran, the more I started to cry, and by the time he was truly out of sight and I couldn't run anymore, I completely fell apart. I didn't want to accept that he was gone, but at the same time, something in my gut just told me that he was dead. But that didn't stop me from running for help, and I ended up running all the way to my neighbor's yard where they called 911 and carried me back home to my mom. Again, the memories of what happened next are difficult to recall, not in the sense that they're hazy, but because I can still remember how painful it was. The worst part was seeing my mom and older sister hoping that, somehow, my dad had survived lying unconscious in a freezing cold river for who knows how long. I wanted to share that hope so badly that I could... Yikes, dude. Have you played Black Mesa, the user-made remake of the original game, as good? Yeah, I actually did, and that was actually the first time that I beat Half-Life in general, just because I remember Half-Life coming out when I was probably like 8 and had gotten my first computer, or at least family computer. And like I was always kind of a crapshoot on whether or not games would work on the computer, because I just never really understood like computer requirements. You look on the back of a game box for a PC game, and it had like specific requirements that you needed, but I never understood those as a kid because nobody in my family knew anything about computers, neither did I. But yeah, remember seeing Half-Life at the, different stores all the time and wanting to get it. And I think I finally did get it, but I didn't fully kind of like understand its concepts and like the typical progression. But I remember like one time putting in cheat codes, and I threw a grenade at a scientist, and the fact that he just like blew up into like giblets and there was like blood everywhere. I remember as a kid just being like, holy fuck, that was amazing. And then I became a psychopath. Is anybody's internet working today? I think it is. I think all of our internets works and it works. I know that. I wanted to share that hope so badly, but I couldn't. I think part of me always knew that he was never coming back, so getting the news that his body had been found wasn't quite as devastating to me as it was to my mom and sister. But it still almost destroyed our family, and even after all these years of trying to process it, through therapy and self-help books, or religion and booze, we're still not really over what happened that Thanksgiving. It's something I think about every single day, without fail, and somehow even the smallest, most inconspicuous little things bring the memories right back to me, sometimes at distressingly short notice. I guess this isn't the kind of story you're used to receiving as a submission, and I can understand why some people might think that this is more sad or tragic than outright horrifying. But to me, when I think of horror, true horror, I think of that moment when I realized that my dad wasn't okay. I think about that flash of his red jacket I saw floating in the water. I think about that flash of his jacket that I saw floating in the water, and how quickly the current was dragging his unconscious body downstream. Sometimes I think I'd happily swap that memory for 1,000 nightly visits from Freddy Krueger, and I'd happily share my apartment with a ghost or two, even more so if they'd help me with the utilities. Anything to get that picture out of my head. Anything to have an actual goodbye with a man that I never had a chance to really know. Chat keeps buffering. 400 people in here. Shit. Sorry, Tiff. It might be the internet. I wish, maybe I don't really need the chat to be at like... I wonder if I can change the latency. Is that possible? That's the question. That's the big question here. The current stream bit rate is lower than the recommended... Wait, what? The current stream bit rate, 2842.76, is lower than the recommended bit rate. We recommend that you use a bit rate of 68 kbps. Would that help you guys out at all? Alright, I wonder if I can change... Ah, shit. Damn. I guess you can't really, like, on the fly change, the bit rate. Maybe next time I'll try like the one lower just to make it easier for everyone. But I guess it is what it is. Turkey lurking. What's up, Queef? I'm not gonna lie, I know it's holiday season, but more ghost. Yeah, actually, Friday's video will be ghost stories. Don't you worry, your little bottom. I'm actually really stoked for those too. I mean, whatever they turn out to be, I just love like releasing a ghost video. There's something about it. There's something like cold and familiar. Like, it's something about ghost stories to me. It's like cold. It's like a cold solitude, when you think about it. And it's perfect to fall asleep to by yourself. Maybe you listen to it with somebody, and that would be a little less lonely. But I feel like to get the full vibe of a ghost video, you need to listen to it by yourself in your bed. Because it takes you somewhere that you're not sure if you want to be. Falling down under. That is kind of crazy that, like, whatever the hell's happening with my computer is sending it all the way to Australia in the span of, like, 20 fucking seconds. Like, that's baffling to me. Isn't it kind of weird that, like, as far as technologies goes, it's always, like, built off of the backs of, like, somebody before them? So it makes you wonder at what point, like, people just won't even know how a computer actually works. They're just kind of like, yeah, I don't know, I just use the old shit and it's fine. What time will we be doing them on Friday? Well, yeah, new videos, new, like, release videos will come out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 p.m. EST. But live streams usually happen around this time from, like, say, I usually start sometime at, like, 10 p.m. Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, EST. Even though this, I mean, I will be streaming this Thursday, hopefully. It's going to be tough just because of Thanksgiving, and you gotta make my rounds. Eat everybody's fucking shepherd's pie leftovers. I guess that's what that is, isn't it? Shepherd's pie. All the leftovers from Thanksgiving just shoved into a crust. SJ with the Tuesday we're gone. Ghost hunting. I never have. I've always been kind of like too fucking scared to do something like that. It's a stream come true. You do ghost stories every night. It's good. Nice. Okay. I don't know if I could listen to too many ghost stories. I don't want to get too spooked. But I guess sometimes there's also something a little bit, like, hopeful that you can find in, like, the paranormal stories. I guess, like, hopeful, like, if depending on what the person's experience is, but sometimes it's like a helpful family member or some shit from the afterlife. Are the stories you post on Spotify different from the ones on YouTube? They aren't different, but the ones on Spotify and podcast are like a year behind, if that makes sense. I take them and I have them, like, audio remastered, and then just, like, I don't know exactly why we're, like, so off kilter as far as release goes, but yeah, you're definitely going to find all the new ones for the most part over here on YouTube. Alright. Recent subscribers. I saw one of the streams that you do, and sometimes read viewer submissions. My contribute. First, I don't know your policies of this kind of thing, so feel free to leave it out. Don't necessarily, but I'd give everyone a little trigger warning regarding the topic of suicide. Okay. Firstly, I don't know what your policy is on this kind of thing, so feel free to leave it out if you really don't think it's necessary, but I'd like to give everyone a little trigger warning regarding the topic of taking your own life. I personally don't think I need them, but I've talked to enough people with these kind of ideations over the years to know that they're greatly appreciated by those who think they need them. So if you don't mind including this one, I think people would be very grateful. I guess I gave it away already, but you see, I'm struggling with these kind of thoughts for a long time. I ended up getting addicted to painkillers after a sports injury, and although I tried as hard as I possibly could to break the cycle and kick my habit, I kept on failing, time and time again. Addiction counseling just didn't seem to work for me, and once I'd picked up street drugs a few times and knew my way around, keeping me away from opiates became harder and harder. In the end, I decided that the only way out, the only true way out, was to take my own life and stop being such a burden on absolutely everyone around me. I only made one solid attempt, and I survived, and after I ended up in the hospital, my parents were informed of what I tried to do. It was a sort of come-to-Jesus moment when I realized how far I'd fallen, and from then on, we did things different. There were no more rehabs, no more treatment programs in the city. I was going out to the middle of nowhere to where my mom and dad owned a little vacation cabin, and I was basically going to live there until opiates just weren't part of my thought process anymore. It was like a bridge between where I was. Wait, what? Joel, you still there? Why, what happened? Did we cut out? I don't know. I'm here. I am here. Sorry, I saw that in the chat briefly, and do you really think you're a psychopath? Me? No, I was just joking. Sometimes I just say silly things to be silly. It's not that I actually mean anything that I say. I think there might be some people that are having issues with connecting, whereas others aren't, just because the low latency does put like a little bit of a higher strain on the user's internet at home. So maybe next time. I didn't really notice that much of a difference with the latency in real time versus the second layer one. So maybe I'll just go back to that one and see if it's like less strenuous on people's thing. Psychopaths don't think they're psychopaths. Oh my god, that's a good point. I have a Northern American accent. Yes, I do. Do I? Is it really? It's hard to tell because there are certain people from the North who have all sorts of varying accents. People from Philly sound a little bit different than people from, other parts of Pennsylvania. People sound different in New York. People sound different in Maine. People sound different in Massachusetts. People sound different. Like, there's all sorts of variations. Oh, it's your accent. Oh, interesting. Well, then maybe you'd be able to pick up on it. But yeah. There are no more rehab. I was going out to the middle of nowhere, to where my mom and dad owned a little vacation cabin, and I was basically going to live there until opiates just weren't part of my thought process anymore. It was like a bridge between where I was and wherever I was going to go next, and although I didn't know where exactly that would be, I sure as hell knew that it wasn't going to involve any pills or powders that I couldn't buy at a mom-and-pop drugstore. I ended up staying at that cabin for 4 months, and it was in a real sorry state that I found it too. I guess that just showed my resolve though. Cleaning it gave me something to keep me occupied, and I guess the whole process made good. Cleaning it gave me... Fucking hell, mate. We don't sound so different here in Maine. It's just that sometimes dead is better. Hey, what's up, Jay? You're in California, so you don't have an accent, man. You never know. Cleaning it gave me something to keep me occupied, and I guess the whole process is maybe good for the mind or something, because it definitely had this therapy-like quality to it that had an awesome effect on my peace of mind. So like I say, I made a house a home, so to speak, then ended up staying there for basically the whole of the fall, and then including Thanksgiving. I'd been there a while by that point, and I'd be lying if I said that I didn't miss my family. In fact, I think I was just jonesing for some company all around. So when my mom and dad suggested driving up to visit with some turkey, stuffing, and cranberry sandwiches, I was in no position to turn them down. Cranberry sandwiches? Cranberry sandwiches? What the fuck are you fucking talking? Who eat? That sounds worse than my pie shit that I made up of all the leftovers. That sounds worse than Joel's cream pie. What the fuck? Cranberry sandwiches? Is that a real thing? Please tell me somebody eats that shit. Canned cranberry sandwiches. Really? I've heard of like canned cranberry and shit like that, but like you turn it into a fucking sandwich? Isn't that just like peanut butter and jelly? Or just a jelly sandwich? Oh, it's a sexual euphemism? What's he gonna bang his parents? It's the only way to get over drugs. Sorry. Let me look this up. Does this exist? Cranberry sandwiches. No way. No fucking way. Wow. That's some fucking fancy shit though right there. That's like some rich family shit. There's no way that most people just fucking like floop it out of the can. It's still like the exact same like shape and make and model as the tin it came from. And you cut it into little pieces. That's what sadness tastes like. Oh, he was meaning all of those together in one big sandwich. Turkey, stuffing, and cranberry sandwiches. Oh, I guess, yeah, if they brought like leftovers or some shit. In fact, I was just jonesing for some company all around. So when my mom and dad suggested driving up to visit with some turkey, stuffing, and cranberry sandwiches, I was in no position to turn them down. They traveled up, and we had a nice afternoon just hanging out, and then we all went to bed at a pretty early hour before rising just as early. I made us some eggs. They packed up their things, but before they left, my parents asked if I wanted to go for a walk. It had been a while since they'd visited the cabin, so they figured that it'd be nice to just sort of reacquaint themselves with some of the old trails that we used to walk during our childhood vacations. I remember the old route because it led up to this big iron bridge that ran high above a shallow stream. Walking across it always used to freak me out as a kid because looking through the railings down into the stream gave me the willies in a big way, but the more we walked there, the less freaked out I got, and eventually it became one of my favorite spots whenever we visited the cabin. So, we got to going on our walk along those winding trails that went up and up until we reached the iron footbridge. Then when we got there, we see this other guy standing by the railings looking over the edge. There are plenty of other cabins in the area, so I just figured this guy was doing the same thing we were, taking a little walk, maybe before or after dinner, just to clear his head and digest his turkey. We didn't call out to him or anything. I guess I figured that we'd just give him a friendly nod if we made eye contact while walking across the bridge. We also weren't talking very loudly. We were just enjoying the stillness of the forest, so I guess that had us talking in library voices or something. Go figure. Anyway, my point is, this guy didn't see or hear us until we were almost right up on the bridge, and when he did, I knew something was off just from the look he gave us. He got startled and had this sort of "you caught me" expression that I found really confusing at first, but then he did what he did, and that look made a chilling amount of sense. The second after the guy saw us, he threw himself off the bridge. My mom let out this really shocked gasp, while my dad went to grab her like he was trying to protect her from something that couldn't actually do her any physical harm. Me, on the other hand, I just ran forward towards where the guy had jumped. Looking back, I don't really know what I was thinking, and to be honest, I don't really know if I was really thinking at all. I guess it was just some gut reaction to try and stop the guy from falling, but he was in free fall by the time I even stepped foot onto the bridge. He didn't do it like 1 foot up the railing then jumped. He sort of rolled himself over, I guess to try his best to land on his head or his neck. But things didn't work out like that for him. He didn't get to go quick, and after I saw what remained of him, I've never been able to get that image out of my head. I don't want to go into too much detail and turn this into some big, gross kind of affair, but just imagine what it would be like to somehow survive a fall that breaks dozens of bones, but still has you awake and feeling everything. The image was bad, but I honestly think the noises he was making were worse. He couldn't really scream. He was trying to. He was trying with all he could to express just how much agony he felt, but for some reason, probably in some part due to the devastation his body had just endured, he couldn't actually scream. The only sound he could make was this croaking noise, like a big bullfrog, and he only made it 1 or 2 times before I ran back towards my parents to turn us back towards the cabin. Thankfully, the cell reception in the area wasn't too bad, which meant that my first 911 call connected just fine, and I was able to tell the dispatcher what had happened. A forest ranger was first on the scene, but by the time they got there, the guy lying in the shallow stream had stopped making all of his terrible noises. I honestly think that even if the ranger had been there with his medical supplies the moment the guy jumped off the bridge, there still wouldn't have been a thing that we could do for him. He was a mess, beyond saving, and I have no doubt that he died in absolute agony. I moved out of the cabin a month later, and although it wasn't the whole reason, witnessing that man take his life up near the bridge was definitely playing a part. It's not like I was having nightmares or anything either, and I really don't want to sound too self-absorbed here because what happened to that guy is a tragedy all on its own, but I couldn't help but think to myself, that could have been you down there, writhing in agony, trying and failing to scream your last scream. And I think that was the time that I knew that I was going to be okay, because the one thing that I was certain of is that I never want to end up like that guy. I know how it feels to be that desperate, but what I realized was that I never once considered that taking my own life would be a selfish thing to do. I thought the selfish thing was to try and carry on living, that it was cowardly to just go on living knowing that I was going to be an addict my whole life. But the truth is, choosing life is the bravest thing a person can do. Waking up, getting dressed, and going to face whatever life throws at you, that's the really difficult part. And there's personal glory in even the smallest of successes. That, and I wouldn't wish seeing a body like that on anyone, not even a dumb junkie like me, because now, I do believe people can be haunted by the dead. Not by some sort of apparition, but the ghost inside their head. Oh, fucking hell. Med student here. When I hear all these death stories, all I'm thinking is the gases and the BS that comes out of the body after they die. Like the sadness of dead is sad, but oh my goodness. Yeah. Your dog peed on your sandwiches on vacation? Fucking hell. That dog has got to go. You made so much food today? Nice. What did you make? All for the family. Alright, so that was story 4, I think, of 6. Oh, man. David with a 2 says, those are awesome Thanksgiving sandwiches. I never had one. I want one now, though. That sounds rather good. Oh, it was National Lampoon's Vacation dog pea sandwich. Yummy. Sandwiches are so good, dude. I think it comes down to the bread. Obviously, all the ingredients play a big part, but like good bread is the best. You want a tamale? Tamales are fucking good, bro. Queef is out of here. See ya, Queef. Happy holidays. Yeah, be safe. Have fun. Thank you. Dab on him, Corey. Dabbing on him. It was pretty funny, like my buddy's daughter who's 7, just like how incredibly easily influenced everything that's like said. Like, it's actually really funny. Her favorite YouTuber is Sniper Wolf. And I just don't have the heart to tell her how, like, not so great Sniper Wolf is. But like, and just like, it's fucking screen time all day, every day. And at one point she was like dabbing at dinner, like said some joke to like some punchline joke to her dad, and then like dabbed, like, the fucking 2016 version. And it was pretty funny. Never had any ghost experiences. I've had some sleep paralysis stuff for sure. How old is Sniper Wolf? Sniper Wolf. Because I swear she's 31. Alright. For some reason I thought like she's just been like the same person for a solid 2 decades on YouTube. I don't know why. If I was like gonna open it up and see she's like 62, I wouldn't be surprised either. Like she has some type of vampire, suck the life out of things abilities. She needs to watch the 2 times. She needs to watch Dr. Disrespect. I'm sure she does from time to time, don't we all? I saw some meme. I don't know why it was funny. It was like me trying to keep a straight face while the plane is plummeting into the ground because I don't want to give my wife the ick. I don't know why it was funny. I'm in deep lust with your voice, Joel. That's fair. As are many. Does anyone know who the guest appearance towards the end of 40 Paranormal Ghost Stories from 6 years ago? Davis, if you give me a timestamp, I might be able to find it and hear it and tell you. I've collabed with a lot of people way back in the day. Apparently, allegedly, Sniper Wolf copies all her content from a YouTuber called Azzyland. Yeah, it seems that way. I think I watched that video too, or at least I saw something pop up where it was really weird, dude. Like almost like not to be mean, but like it generally seems a little bit psychotic. Like this person, Azzyland, had like a Toronto style accent or whatever, like that weird accent from Toronto, and just like what she did and stuff, and it almost seemed like Sniper Wolf like emulated completely all of her mannerisms and accent and type of content all from her, but then at one point released a video saying like, these are my copycats, and then like labeled Azzyland as like a copycat of her, even though Azzyland was before her as far as everything that she was emulating off of her. So it was very odd, because it just seems like I don't know, there just seems to be like some type of like mental health issues there that kind of scare me a little bit. It's like, what is wrong with this person, and why do they lie? Why do they do the things they do? It's hard to get into a person's brain, though. You ready to get Art the Clown from Terrifier tattooed on your side? You big Art fan? Let's read. You have a voice of a Hollywood star or someone famous, yet relatable and down to earth. Oh, thank you, Timothy. That's very kind to say. I look up to... Who do I look up to? Who's... maybe like Harvey Weinstein. He was a big inspiration. I'm just kidding. Oh. Alright. I don't know why I'm all sniffly. Schnuffle skoosh. Paul Rube. She's top tier YouTuber looks wise. Yeah, she's pretty. She's had some work done. No, I'm just kidding. I'm done. I honestly just don't give a fuck about, like, I don't know. It is kind of like low effort content. Like, it's just like, I mean, I guess you kind of have to put some effort in too if you're gonna like react to stuff. Well, no, not really. I don't get. Who gives a shit? All the fucking YouTube dramas. Like, to me, when I hear, like, if I found out that like she like was scalping people in her basement or some shit, there's something very abstract about people on YouTube, or it's not that I don't look at them as like people. They are people, but because they're on my screen, they just don't register in my brain as like real human beings sometimes. And I don't know how to like differentiate them from just like entertainment. So if I found out that they were just like scalping people down in their basement, it would be the same reaction that I would have to just like watching a Quentin Tarantino movie. It's like, it all just feels like some abstract fiction to me, and I just once I see it and I go, oh, that's weird, and then I just like, you know, get back to jerking off or whatever I do with my life. People are reptiles. This is true. It could be true. Maybe I am. Audrey with the 5 says, going to bed because this sickness and headache is really getting to me. Thank you for tonight, Joel. Love you much, and happy holidays. See you soon. Thank you, Audrey. Have a great holiday, and I hope you get lots of food. Appreciate you. Thank you for the 5. She has more subscribers than me, does she? I thought I had more. What the fuck? She's beating me? Sniper Wolf or Pete Davidson? Oh, guarantee. What, like, who do I have to kiss? Or are they dating now? Are they dating now? Jesus Christ. Pete just gets everyone. Sandra Sotelo, welcome back. For 14 months. Just hope you and the child and everyone in the chats have a happy Thanksgiving. Thank you, Sandra. How are you? What's poppin'? 34 million. That is so many subscribers, dude. There's so many subscribers. That's crazy, man. Sniper Wolf. I wonder if she got more subs because of the controversy. Let's see. Newest video. This guy uses his girlfriend for money. Woman expects man to pay $5,000 for date. Weird jobs you can actually get. This man is cheaper than mine. Or this family is cheaper than mine. Wait, what does that even mean? Oh, like they don't... I thought she bought her family. She went out to the store and bought a family at the Amazon store. Rachel Stevens, welcome back. For a year and a half, 18 months, says, hey, just wanted to say, with arms wide open, it says, I say still around. Rachel, thank you. Yeah, you cannot go wrong with Creed. With arms wide open. Dude, Creed is fucking sick though. Like, if you just, I don't know, if you just think about like the range of his voice and the capabilities of it, and even though it was like back in the day considered maybe like secretly cringe, I don't know. It just feels right. Davis Wall, thank you for 2 months. His best voice on YouTube. Thank you, Davis. Appreciate you. There's got to be a better voice. Come on. Come on. Did someone say controversy, meaning creamy? That sounds like a good Thanksgiving dish that I will be preparing for my family. Little do they know. No, I'm just kidding. Azzy, welcome to the Buttersock Cult. You now have access to bonus content. Well, she hasn't posted for over a week, which is odd because the Jax Films drama, she was still posting during that. Maybe she's just taking a break, you know. I'm sure I mean, even though sometimes it feels good to like make people into like enemies or whatever for a week and their mistakes and stuff that they do, which, you know, hopefully they learn from. Hopefully they become a little bit self-aware of their cringiness. Sometimes they just, you know, need to get the fuck away from the computer for a week and go drink blood. I don't know. How many more do we have? This is story 5 of 6, so technically we got 2 more stories. You love I Heard It Too. Nice. Yeah, hopefully the animator from that is currently in animation school right now. So hopefully when he gets done with school, or animation college, he just he got married and moved up to Canada, we'll be able to do part 3, which would be sick, I think. Jesus was wrong. We need to kill each other for our sins. Oh, okay. That would make more sense, actually. What the hell? We've been doing it right the whole time. Go, go, go. With arms wide open. All right. For Thanksgiving of 2009, I took my family over to her sister's. Whose sister's place? For Thanksgiving of 2009, I took my family over to her sister's place. Who's her? They live in Chattanooga. Wait. I feel like I need to decipher this. Is it theirs? To my sister's place? They lived in Chattanooga, which was a long drive from where we lived in Indiana. Okay, yeah, we'll say my. I guess they just lost their grammar there for a second. Can you take me higher? Dude, yeah, I saw some meme or whatever. It was like, there's nothing more American than this. And it was like Creed playing at like a Cowboys game or something at like halftime. And he was, doing his typical, like, on the edge of the stage with his, the lead singer, like, jacket, like, flowing in the wind. And there was, like, baton and, like, I don't even fucking know, like, fabric dancers in the audience. And this one dude was coming down on, like, the fabric, like, flying, like he was a fucking Peter Pan man. It was beautiful. And I feel like there had to have been some military stuff going on, too. Yeah, the dude on the ropes. Yeah, it was fucking sick. Makes me wish I don't know how long ago that was, but I wish I would have watched that game. Creed coming back to play halftime at the Super Bowl would fix the country. I think so, honestly. Like, there's a lot of shit going on right now, like, culturally, that I just do not give a fuck about anymore. You know how, like, for a while, there was just like a weird shift in the culture where everyone just is like at each other's throat about like shit. I have lost all the energy I have and all the fucks I have to give for like anybody's, for everything from 2016 to like now that like acts as if though it's like abstractly different from the past and we've made just like sudden strides and what, like I just don't care anymore. And like, and everybody you come across in real life off the fucking internet doesn't give a shit anymore either. You know what I mean? Like, no, anybody who actually takes their internet personality and brings it into real life just gets shunned anyways, or just told to shut the fuck up and leave me alone. So like, and I'm just, and even watching it on the internet where they try to like pull you into the divide of whatever the fuck it might be in all of the various sects of argument, it's so pointless at this point, and you just don't have the energy for it. And I'm just ready to go back to like the 2000. I'm ready to just, and I'm there. I am mentally already there. I am mentally. Creed just dropped a new album, and I just do not give a fuck. And we're going to war with Iraq or something. I don't know. Like that. That's where I am in my head right now, and everything else is just some sort of side thought that needs to get out of the way. I'm fucking seeing Creed. Samuel Rusden with a 5 New Zealand buckaroonie says, hey Joe, I've listened to all your episodes on Spotify now. Just wondering if your videos on YouTube are different stories to Spotify episodes. They are, yeah. They're actually, so Spotify is like a year behind technically on like, I take those stories from, like all come out on YouTube first, and then on the timeline that they're on, remastered over to Spotify and podcast. And yeah. You can find all the new stuff here over on YouTube. Just when we've been back in 2012. That's where I am. I have jumped onto a different timeline in my head where, like, that weird sort of, like, strange thing that happened during the Trump years where everybody was just, like, at each other's throat and stuff. I'm just going to pretend like none of that ever happened, and you just whatever, who, you know, I don't, you know, who, like, this weird sort of retrograde puritanism that people kind of go through and get upset about things that happened in the past, or that, you know, and they have to, like, I'm not even sure how to describe it. It's just like this strange sort of modern puritanism that I just don't think I have the energy for to, like, even entertain anymore. And I don't think there's a single human being that you'll meet in real life that has that energy either. So it's just like, live your fucking life, think your thoughts, do what you want to do. It's all so silly. It's so pointless to, like, waste your time being upset about the words that come out of someone's mouth. Like, that is just, like, the most childish concept that you could ever put energy into. It's just, it's abstract and strange. Andrea, welcome to the Buttersock Call. You now have access to bonus content. For Thanksgiving of 2009, I took my family over to my sister's place. They live in They lived in Chattanooga, which was a long drive from where we lived in Indianapolis, but I had no problem driving all that way to spend the holidays with my brother-in-law. He became my best friend during these early dad years. Wait. Oh, that's right. It was his sister's, but I don't know why I have to keep that. How am I? I am doing good. Do I listen to Mr. Ballin? You know, I don't really consume a lot of horror content. Mr. Ballin does make really good stuff. And we wish him well. We wish him well. I just, me, myself, and I do not really listen to true crime podcasts or scary story stuff. You know, it's just not really my bag. I mean, I make the stuff, but I just don't really consume the content too much. Can you answer a question from a fan concerning a previous podcast? Sure, yeah. I'll do my best. He became my best friend during those early dad years, as I didn't really have anyone else to ask advice from. My own father passed away when I was a kid, and my friends who actually got it together and had families didn't do so until their 30s. So when it came to getting dad advice, he was the first person I turned to, and that little conversation evolved into one of the closest friendships of my life. So, we got there, he cooked us an amazing dinner, but afterwards, he complained so. I think Swamp Dweller had a 24/7 story reading. Were you a part of it? I was dead tired and was not sure if you were reading. I don't know. I mean, I've collabed with Swamp in the past, and if he's doing a 24/7 thing, it might be from his stream, which he might be using content, you know, that he'd previously recorded or previous videos, so I may have been included in that. Hi, ooh. So maybe I was in that. I'm not sure. Mr. Ballin Medical Mysteries. Okay. It was months ago. I don't know. I can't even remember the last time I collabed with him. It might have been months ago. I love aquariums, so I don't know why I haven't. Which aquarium? We'd be doing a Thursday stream. I think so. I got, Thanksgiving dinner or Thanksgiving lunch, or whatever you want to call it, at 1 p.m. And then after that, I kind of have to make my rounds to like other family and friends. And so it might not be till later, but I will definitely keep you posted. So when it came to getting dad advice, he was the first person I turned to, and that little conversation evolved into one of the closest friendships of my life. So we got there, he cooked us an amazing dinner, but afterwards, he complained that he wasn't feeling so hot. He went to the bathroom, then came back saying that there was fluid coming out of his ear, but was also quick to reassure us that he'd struggled with ear infections in the past and that it wasn't anything we needed to worry about. The night went on perfectly normal after that. We put the kids to bed at around 9 before adult bedtime. We put the kids to bed at around 9 before adult bedtime ended up being around 11:30 to midnight. But then around 1 a.m., my sister wakes up to her husband trembling and sweating in the bed next to her, saying that he felt like he had a fever. He goes to the bathroom, takes some medication, but he's still awake and shivering at around 3 a.m. with no signs of feeling any better. The next morning, my sister got up early to take care of their boys and was mindful to be quiet so he could get some rest. I swung by in the morning with breakfast for them, and my sister informed me that he was still sleeping. Right away, I thought that was weird, because he was never one to let a hangover keep him in bed, so I knew that he must have been feeling pretty terrible. The two of us left to leave him to get some rest, and tried to keep the noise from the boys to a minimum and let my brother-in-law get some rest as we all had plans that afternoon. Afternoon rolls around, and after knocking a few times and them not knocking, my bad. Ooh. Shout out to anyone approaching finals in school. Godspeed. Godspoob. Godspooge. Big fan. Thanks, Rock Island. Appreciate you. What you up to? Afternoon rolls around, and after calling a couple times and them not picking up, my wife and I went by the house at around 2 to check on my sister and brother-in-law. The moment we got there, I got this terrible feeling. When I stepped inside, I took no satisfaction in finding out how right I was. The moment my sister opened the door, she was white as a ghost as she told me to follow her upstairs because she desperately needed help. We sprinted up the stairs to find my brother-in-law breathing extremely erratically with all of this bright green snot coming out of his nose. My sister was shaking him to get him to wake up, and you could hear the fluid in his lungs as he was breathing in. As I started trying to wake him up, my sister ran over to get water to pour on his face to rinse off the snot and try and startle him awake. And at that point, he stopped breathing. I looked up at my sister and we both knew that things were getting wildly serious and we had to act quick. She was fortunate to have had a few CPR lessons, so she started instructing me on exactly what needed to be done. We dragged him off the bed to the floor and started alternating breathing in his mouth and chest compressions. And this is when things started going from bad to worse. We screamed down to my wife to call 911 and have my mom get the kids out of the house. My wife then ran up the stairs on the phone to see the two of us performing CPR on him. As I did the CPR moves, a truly horrifying amount of blood started coming out of his mouth and nose, and this was something that I was completely unprepared for. I didn't even realize it was blood at first. It was dark brown, not like the movies and TV shows depict. So there I was, bawling with my sister as the two of us were pounding on my brother-in-law's chest with my wife standing over us on the phone with the operator. I decide that I'm going to check on him, and with my thumb I open his eyelid. Big mistake. You cannot unsee that. His eye didn't focus, didn't move, didn't do anything, and I pulled my hand away. As I was still performing CPR, my sister runs around the bed to get shorts on my brother-in-law before the paramedics get there, so when they take him out, he's just not completely nude. Now, another thing that I wasn't ready for, my brother-in-law's bowels evacuating as we try to get his underwear on. Seconds later, my sister is standing there cupping her hands over his stuff, crying as she's saying, "He's peeing, oh my God, he's peeing." I yell back that we're doing everything we can, and that it's going to be okay. But we both knew that things were not going to be okay. It was only a question of how bad they were about to get. The paramedics arrived, and the moment we did get out of there... I'm not a big fan of this story. I mean, it sucks, but I don't know, it's just... Brad, B-Rad, welcome to the Butter Sock Cult. You now have access to bonus content. Chat, is this real? Chat is real. Yeah, it's scary, gross, all sorts of shit. Fuck. Hey, Davis Wall with the 10 says, much love, Joel. Keep on keeping on. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. Thank you. What's up, Bandy Bands? The paramedics arrived, and the moment they did, we got out of the way to let them work. At this point, I was so relieved. They just needed to get him to breathe and start his heart. And this is the 21st century, right? They do this kind of thing daily, right? I thought. They started chest compressions and got him on monitors and a belt-looking thing that went around his chest and performed the compressions for them. It was a terrible thing to watch, as it contracts and sends him heaving forwards and then back down over and over. And we drape a sheet around his waist before they drag him down the stairs. I run to the bathroom because I am now very aware of the taste in my mouth. It's like I had a mouthful of pennies. Is there a skip button? Yeah, I'll probably put this story at the end. It was like I had a mouthful of pennies and vomit. Fuck. It was like I had a mouthful of pennies and vomit. I rinsed out my mouth as they got him downstairs, and I soon found myself screaming, "Get the kids outside now." My wife takes them up and gets them to the back patio. Thankfully, they didn't see him the way he was, and we ran out the door and got to the hospital. The ambulance wasn't there yet, so I waited outside. As it arrived, they wheeled him to the door, chest still regularly heaving upwards, eyes still closed, and I ran back to the waiting room and told my sister and wife that he'd arrived. After that, all we could do was wait. What feels like hours go by, and they pull us into a small room and the doctor comes to speak to us. The moment he asked if he could close the door, I just kind of knew. He informs us that they tried everything, but that my brother-in-law had passed away. I'm not totally sure what happened next. No tears at first, disbelief and confusion. My sister is hysterically crying, screaming that it's not supposed to be this way, they were supposed to grow old together. And I eventually lose it, and everyone was inconsolable. Things have since gotten better, though, or at least more normal. But still, I can barely believe it. The company I work for was awesome about it, and they paid for grief counseling. Fucking shit. The company I work for was awesome about it, and they paid for grief counseling for my sister and I. Also, between friends and family, my sister received close to $20,000 that she is putting towards the boys' college funds. And you really find out who was important in your life really quickly. I have amazing friends and family and wouldn't trade a single one for the world. We later found out that he had a nearly perfect storm of issues. Infection that manifested Streptococcus pneumoniae, meningitis, and he had a lung infection, ear infection, enlarged heart, and eventually septic shock. If I can give any advice to anyone that reads this, or hears this, go to the doctor if you feel even remotely sick. Within 11 hours of shivering in bed, he was dead. Don't think about how you're going to pay for it, just tough it out. Because just 1 second with those you love is more valuable than any dollar amount, and I mean any. My brother-in-law was a healthy guy, too. He worked out regularly, did jiu-jitsu, biked everywhere, cooked all of his meals from organic fruits and vegetables, did yoga, and was only 39 years young when he passed. He was a magnificent human being, an amazing martial artist, and a wonderful father, and he will be missed. Ah, fucking Christ. Alright, well that was sad as fuck. But we got one more after this, which means I gotta go take my nighttime magnesium. So I will be right back. Please talk amongst yourselves. I'm back, baby, for the final story of the night. Final story of the night. It's a final story. Was it Game of Thrones? No, it was Zelda. Do 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 do. Boo do 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 do. You guys know the name of the song? Boo do do boo do do. I guess I could play it again. Wait, is it Game of Thrones? No, it's not. Alright, let's do this thing. Final countdown, the final countdown. I think it's Song of Storms, right? That's what it is, right? Alright, somebody please. Song of Storms. Is it this one? Wait. Yeah. Ready? Do 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 do. It's Waluigi. Ha ha ha. Hee ha hoo hee, hee ha hoo, hoo ha hee, hee hoo hoo, hee ha. Ba 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 wa wa Is this what a magnesium OD looks like? I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fucking fine. Just let me go. Let me go be with Zelda. Alright, let's get serious. Let's get focused. If you want to do well, you got to focus. You gotta focus. Okay. This happened when I was 13, on Thanksgiving of 2011, but it feels like a while ago. You see, after dinner, I was sitting at the top of the hill not far from my house. At the base of the hill, there were trees that went along the edge of the school. Kids would often start at the top of the hill and race down, with the first to cross through the trees being the winner. A simple game made fun by putting a steep hill in the mix. Well, I was all by myself and felt like doing it anyways, so I stood up and ran down that hill as fast as my legs could go. I was the fastest kid in the world at that moment. The next thing I knew, I was on the ground looking at the sky, and it felt like someone had taken a sword to my neck. I felt it, looked at my hands, and saw blood. A lot of blood. I focused my eyes and saw it, tied between the two trees that I ran through. A fishing line, about 3 stands worth, twisted together to give it strength. And I stared at that fishing line so confused. Why? What? How? And that's when I heard them. Maybe 20 feet away, a group of what looked like 8th or 9th graders who I had seen around the school sitting on their bikes, pointing and laughing. I couldn't hear... Oh, fuck. Dude, they tried to cut his head off. They tried to cut his head off. I could hear one distinctly say, "I can't believe he didn't see it. What an idiot." I never figured out who they were, but they were the reason why I was in pain, and they were the reason why I was bleeding. I didn't know any of them. I'd never done anything to deserve anything from them, but still they'd chosen to do it, out of some pure malicious sense of boredom. I was so confused and in so much pain, but worst of all, I was scared that they weren't finished with me. I got up and ran with everything left in me down the back towards my house. I ended up tripping over the curb in front of the White Hen Pantry, which is now a 7-Eleven. I was lucky and saw some lady, and they helped me back up, and she dragged me inside and bought some... I was lucky and saw some lady that helped me back up, and she dragged me inside and bought me some bandages and patched me up and told me to go home. I didn't trust anyone for a long time after that and refused to do anything without first slowly and cautiously inspecting everything before I let myself even have any fun. Almost having my head cut off truly did ruin my carefree childhood days. Let's make me sleepy too, Joel. You got it. Land of pure imagination. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Do 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 do. Hum da 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 dum dum. Boo do 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 do. Do 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 do. This is kind of funny how, like, when it comes to music, like, you could mix that song, the Game of Thrones song, you know, and that Willy Wonka song, like, just mix it all together into like a remix, and it would like perfectly flow into each other. All right, friends, it is 1:33 in the 34 in the morning here on the East Coast of the United States of America, and I have just finished reading these Thanksgiving stories. I'm going to read our outro for you. So whilst I do that, please think of something funny for me to say. Holy twisted tea, Batman. Have I heard of Chris Watts? I've heard of Alan Watts. I'm not sure about Chris Watts. Hey friends, thanks for listening. Click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. I release new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 p.m. EST, and there are super fun live streams every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday nights. If you got a story, be sure to submit them to my subreddit, r/Let'sReadOfficial, or send it over email, and you might even hear your story featured on the next video. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations and bonus content over on Patreon, or click that big join button to hear about the extra perks offered for the channel. And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all of these stories in big compilations and save huge on data, located anywhere you listen to podcasts. All links in the description below. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, Chris Watts killed his pregnant wife and his 2 daughters. All right, interesting. I might have read a true crime about that, but I don't recall. Watch my favorite TikToks. I don't really get on TikTok too often, honestly. I feel like I watch a lot of Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts, but TikToks I can do without. Just gobble like a manic turkey. That actually would be good. Let's do that. Thanks so much, friends. And remember... Alright. Remember your leftover cream pie. The chemicals are turning the friggin' turkeys gay. Oh, shit. Alright, friends. let's freaking rock and roll. Thanks so much for being here. This is like, you guys are always positive, but this is like an exceptionally positive night. So thank you guys for making it a ton of fun. And I hope you can watch this video right when it comes out on YouTube. The last video did not do too hot, so I'm hoping that with the turkey stories, we can make up for that. But yeah, get early access over on Patreon. It's only $1 a month over there, and you can do a free trial, which is sick. And I'll get those up on Patreon, and then over on YouTube, same time, same place, 7 p.m. EST. I hope you guys have an amazing Thanksgiving or whatever it is you do on Thursday, and good day tomorrow. Otherwise, yeah, I'll probably be back streaming probably later on Thursday, depending on what's going on. And if I don't, I'll let you know on YouTube or Twitter. Yeah, follow me on Twitter at Let's Read. Hell yeah, baby. Hey, Rob with the big 20 says, I was watching these for road tripping. Find some Skinwalker. I'm Native American, but just tell what you can. Yeah, absolutely. I'm hoping after this set of paranormal stories for Friday, I'm hoping to do just for the next paranormal set, which will be once a month. So the next month, I'm hoping to do just straight Skinwalker stories. I think that would be awesome. Patreon is brilliant as there's no ads. That's true too. That's another motivating factor to get set up over there. It's only $1 a month. You know, it's $12 a year, and you can even pay in bulk. Am I on Chilling? I was on Chilling. I still have content on Chilling. You know, I haven't made any new content for them as I don't work there anymore, just because, you know, I don't have, unfortunately, I don't have the time. But I do wish them well. And the app kicks butt, so you should definitely check it out if you're just a general fan of horror stories and horror content. They have original movies now too, which is sick. But all right, friends, thank you again. Keep kicking butt. Stay strong out there. You will get through this, wherever it is. Keep aiming for the stars. You will land in the sky. I don't know, something like that. You get the idea. All right, bye-bye.